Hey there, today we'll be doing this question that's minimum amount of time to fill cups. You have a water dispenser that can dispense cold, warm, and hot water. Every second, you can either fill up two cups with different types of water or one cup of any type of water, and we will be given an array of length 3 that is called amount, and we just need to get the minimum time until everything is emptied or filled, whatever. Okay, that is what we need to do. So what we need to do is, let's just say this is my input array, so 1 4 and 2. This is what my input array says. Then what you have to do is, you just need to decrease all the values until it becomes 0. Just think of the problem statement as like this only. Okay, so what I thought of it as, I just sorted it out 4 2 and 1, and I tried to decrease by 2 by taking the two adjacent guys at first. And if you did not understand, it's fine, I'll just go into the depth of it and you'll get it. So the given array is 1 4 and 2, and you have two choices: either take two elements from the array and decrease it by 1, both of them, or just take one of the elements and decrease it by 1. So what will you take? You'll obviously take the first kind of operation, right, which is better. And if you cannot do the first kind of operation, then you go for the second kind of operation. This is what you will do. So at first, what you should do is, you should just sort the array. And mind you, there could be many definite approaches to this problem. I did it this way, okay, since the constraints were low. Sorry. And after that, what I did was, after sorting part, what I did was, I know that the greatest elements, whatever there are here. So I can obviously perform the first kind of operation, which was take two elements and decrease both of them by 1. So that is, I just took this and I decreased both of them by 1. Okay, so this is how it's looking right now. After this operation is done, what I did was, again I sorted it, and this is how it continues. Okay, the cycle continues. You just decrease both of them and just sort it out. So the number of operation performed is 1 here, which is marked by the arrow. After that, again we'll perform this first kind of operation, that is take two elements and decrease simultaneously. So this is how it goes. Fine. Again take the sorted array. Okay, so this is the second kind. Okay, and after that I'll be just taking the sorted array. And what will be the sorted array looking like? 2 1 and 0. So this is how it looks like. So what will be the operations performed here? This will become 1, right? This should become 1. And since I'm having a 1 here, this will become a 0 if I'm performing the first kind of operation, that is taking these two elements and decreasing them by 1. And this is already 0, so it doesn't matter really. Fine. So now I see that two elements are 0. I cannot take these two elements and decrease it by 1, right? So this will become -1. So what will I do? I'll just take another type of operation and decrease it just by 1. Okay, so this is the third operation, and removing this one will take one more operation, that is 4 operation. Okay, so this is how you got to do this question. Now getting on to how I did it, so I just explained that I just sorted it every time, and I decreased two of those values. But what if you have something like a 5 0 and a 0? Okay, what if you have something like this in the question? So at that time, what I did was, I just checked if my first element and the second element both are non-zero elements, right? Since I know my array is always in decreasing order, obviously I have sorted it, right? It is not given in sorted order, but I sorted it in decreasing order. I know the element at the first is the largest and this is the second largest. So if any of them is 0, that means I cannot perform both operation at the first time, right? That means I cannot just take these two elements and decrease both of them by 1. I cannot do this type of operation. I just have to take one element, and which one element? Obviously the first one, and decrease that by 1. Okay, so this is how we got to do it. So now let's move on to the code part. That is, I just took an infinite loop right here. Okay, after that I checked that if my first element and the second element is a non-zero element, that is if my both the elements are non-zero. Okay, this is non-zero, this is non-zero. I can take both of them and decrease it by 1, obviously. So I can do this type of operation. And what if this is not the case? What if I have something like 5 0 and 0? So for that case, I have taken this kind of operation. It will go into the else if part, and it will just check that if my first element is greater than 0, then only we'll perform this operation. And I've just taken a counter variable, that is this amount, which is storing the number of operation that we are doing. And if at any given moment the amount of 0 becomes 0, that is the first guy becomes 0, like this becomes 0, then we'll break. And why am I so sure that the first guy becoming 0 will actually be the ending point? Because I'm doing this sorting part every time, right? And since the constraints are very low and the amount dot length is 3, we can be rest assured that this will not overflow or it will not tle or some kind of thing, right? So this part is important. This is what I did, that sort it in the descending order, and you'll just be fine to this part. Okay. And yeah, this is for this code. And if you did understand the explanation and like this, just like and subscribe. And yeah, thank you for watching.